The allegations Meghan has made are simply not true. Her account does not reflect what actually happened, and it has led the public to a deeply misleading impression. That version of events has no basis in...
The proposal arrived quietly, hidden beneath the language of reconciliation and charitable service. But when Prince William opened the private file, he saw something far more dangerous. Prince Harry was seeking a prestigious royal patronage for Meghan, complete with palace recognition, official access, and the appearance of renewed royal authority. William did not hesitate. He closed the folder, summoned his brother, and prepared to deliver an answer that would destroy the plan before it could reach the king. Before we go deeper into what this really means for the royal family, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss a single update. William remained alone in his Windsor office as the last page settled beneath his hand. A royal patronage is an official relationship in which a royal publicly supports a charity, lending it status and access. Yet this proposal demanded far more. Harry wanted Meghan appointed patron of the Commonwealth Women's Leadership Trust, a fictional palace-backed organization supporting women across Commonwealth nations. The role would let her speak for the charity, attend royal functions, receive palace briefings, and stand beside senior royals at events. The final sentence changed everything. It described Meghan as a representative of the Crown's continuing global mission. William read those words twice, then placed his pen down carefully. He understood why the wording mattered. It could allow independent speeches, campaigns, and meetings to appear as though they carried royal approval. The prince did not see reconciliation. He saw authority being reclaimed without accountability. Harry saw something different. He believed the appointment could restore dignity to his wife after years of humiliation and separation from the family. The Duke had watched Meghan's royal role disappear, then watched every attempt at independent service become trapped beneath arguments about titles and loyalty. For him, this patronage was not a maneuver. It was a promise that she could still serve without surrendering herself. The request had never been meant for William's desk. Harry had addressed it directly to King Charles and concealed it inside a charity renewal package. A senior aide discovered the scope while checking the documents. Alarmed by references to communications and Commonwealth representatives, the courtier redirected the file to the future king before the monarch could sign anything. William summoned his brother. When Harry entered, the folder was waiting between them. The prince pushed it forward and said the request would never reach Charles. The Duke did not touch the papers. He looked at William and refused to withdraw a word. Harry had expected resistance, but he had not expected William to stand between Meghan and the crown with such absolute determination, and the reason for that determination was deeply personal. To the outside world, the argument was about a charity. Inside the family, it was about trust, loyalty, and two brothers who no longer agreed on what royal service meant. Harry saw a final opportunity to restore dignity to the woman he loved. William saw an attempt to regain influence without accepting responsibility. Between them stood Meghan, absent from the room, yet present in every accusation, every silence, and every memory neither brother was willing to forgive. William paused outside the library doors and chose his words carefully. A royal patronage is an official link between a member of the monarchy and a charitable organization, giving that cause public status and royal support. To the prince, that connection carried the authority of the crown and could not be handed out as a private favor. He knew that rejecting the request would not feel like a policy decision to Harry. It would feel like another rejection of Meghan, another locked door, another wound added to years of resentment. Harry approached the meeting with a different burden. He believed Meghan had sacrificed her reputation, security, and place inside the institution after joining royal life. The Duke had watched her lose access, status, and protection, then face public judgment from a distance. In his mind, the patronage offered a new path: service without submission, recognition without a return to the old system. William entered first and remained standing beside the table. Harry followed moments later, carrying a handwritten note folded inside his jacket. Meghan had written what the role would mean to her, not as a title, but as proof that her work had not been erased. The Duke touched the pocket repeatedly as the conversation grew colder, drawing strength from words he had not yet shown. Harry argued that the appointment could help the monarchy reconnect with younger audiences across Commonwealth nations. The Commonwealth is a voluntary association of countries, many with historic ties to Britain, and its public support mattered because the monarchy's future influence depended on those relationships. William listened, then answered that the proposal seemed designed to restore royal authority without restoring royal accountability. The silence sharpened. Harry then revealed that Meghan had already spoken privately with several international supporters of the charity. Those conversations made the plan far more advanced than the palace had understood. William's expression changed at once. He asked who had encouraged those contacts, and whether anyone inside royal circles had promised that approval was likely. Harry refused to answer. The Duke finally removed Meghan's note, but did not unfold it. He placed it beside the official proposal, and said quietly, "You are not rejecting paperwork. You are rejecting her." William looked at the page but refused to touch it. The confrontation had exposed the pain between the brothers, but the patronage plan had begun long before that meeting, and one public ceremony had turned Meghan's private hope into Harry's secret mission. Months before William discovered the proposal, one carefully arranged Commonwealth ceremony changed everything. Meghan watched another royal woman receive the patronage she believed could have transformed her future. Harry saw the disappointment she attempted to conceal, and in that instant, frustration became purpose. What followed was not a sudden request, but a discreet campaign, private calls, carefully chosen intermediaries, and a promise made between husband and wife that the palace would be forced to consider her again. Harry had already begun to believe that Meghan's humanitarian experience was being pushed aside. He saw charities asking for younger voices, global reach, and stronger links with women across Commonwealth nations. Yet her name never appeared in palace discussions. The Commonwealth is a voluntary association of countries, many with historic ties to Britain, and support within it matters, because royal influence depends heavily on trust beyond the United Kingdom. To the Duke, excluding his wife was not caution, it was erasure. Meghan felt that absence even more sharply. She had built independent projects and spoken publicly about causes she cared about, but royal patronage carried something those efforts could not reproduce: official legitimacy. It meant the crown had placed its name beside yours. For her, the role would have confirmed that her years inside the family had not been wiped away simply because she had stepped back. The turning point came during the fictional Commonwealth Service of Renewal at Westminster Abbey. Duchess Sophie was announced as patron of the Commonwealth Women's Leadership Trust, the same palace-backed charity Harry believed matched Meghan's work. A service of renewal is a ceremonial gathering designed to celebrate shared ties and future cooperation across the Commonwealth. The appointment itself was not an insult, yet the timing made it feel like one. Meghan watched the broadcast from California. As applause filled the ceremony, she remained silent, closed her laptop, and left the room. Harry stayed behind, staring at the frozen image of Sophie accepting the role. The Duke knew the trusted confidant had done nothing wrong, but he also knew his wife had understood the message. The palace had chosen someone else to carry the mission she once believed could have been hers. Harry made his first call that evening. He contacted a former palace charity advisor and asked whether Meghan could become a co-patron without returning as a working royal. A co-patronage allows two public figures to share official support for the same organization. The advisor explained that the king's approval would still be required, but suggested presenting the plan as a temporary Commonwealth initiative rather than a full royal restoration. Meghan returned and found Harry writing names on a blank page. When she asked what he was doing, he circled the charity's title and answered, "Finding the door they forgot to close." Then he promised to secure the role before the next international summit, with or without William's support. That promise carried Harry from private disappointment to direct action. But when he finally faced William, the future king was ready not merely to reject the plan, but to dismantle every argument behind it. The room was cleared. No aides remained. No advisors stood between them, and no carefully drafted palace language could soften what came next. Harry demanded that William send the proposal to their father. The prince refused. Voices rose. Old betrayals surfaced, and the patronage request became a reckoning over everything the brothers had lost. Then William pushed the file back across the table and delivered the sentence Harry had feared from the beginning. "This ends here." William kept his voice controlled, but every word carried force. A royal patronage is not a personal reward or a private gesture of forgiveness. It is an official bond between the monarchy and a cause, giving that organization the weight, access, and public trust of the crown. The future king told Harry that such authority could never be used to repair a reputation, or settle a family grievance. It had to remain under clear royal control. Harry rejected that argument at once. He insisted Meghan was not asking to return as a working royal or reclaim full palace duties. The Duke described the appointment as a limited charitable role, focused on women's leadership and Commonwealth development. In his mind, the proposal offered service without status, contribution without submission. But William heard something else. He heard an attempt to recover influence while avoiding the duties that influence demanded. The tension broke. Harry stood so suddenly that his chair scraped hard against the floor. He accused his brother of punishing Meghan because the palace had never forgiven her for leaving. The Duke said every door had been closed, every effort questioned, and every independent success treated as a threat. William rose more slowly. He held his anger in place and answered that departure was not the true issue. The attacks, the private disclosures, and the collapse of confidence afterward had made royal authority impossible to separate from personal conflict. Harry then admitted the plan had moved further than the palace knew. Outside advisors had already drafted an announcement framework with possible dates and carefully chosen wording suggesting royal encouragement. William's expression changed. The prince revealed that palace legal counsel, the lawyers who protect the crown from legal and constitutional risk, had reviewed the proposal and found clauses that could let Meghan's independent advocacy appear to be official royal work. That was the breaking point. William removed the unsigned approval page from the folder. He tore it once through the center and placed both pieces in front of Harry. The gesture was calm, almost quiet, but its meaning was brutal. The prince ordered the draft announcement withdrawn immediately. Harry refused. He said only Charles had the authority to give the final answer, and he would take the request directly to the king. The argument was no longer confined to two brothers, because Harry was now preparing to take the request above William, and the king's position was far more complicated than either son wanted to admit. Harry believed the final decision belonged to his father. On paper, he was right. Yet the modern monarchy was already moving toward William, and the prince controlled the structure through which the proposal would have to survive. Charity boards, palace communications, security access, public schedules, and future royal strategy all passed through offices loyal to the heir. Charles could approve a name. William could deny the machinery that made the appointment meaningful. That was the hidden power behind his devastating refusal. William had taken greater control of royal charities expected to continue into his reign. A royal charity board is the group responsible for guiding an organization supported by the monarchy, and its decisions often depend on palace access, official approval, and long-term royal backing. The future king understood that a patronage could not survive on a title alone. It needed staff, schedules, security, diplomatic support, and public coordination. Without those systems, the appointment would be little more than a name on paper. The Commonwealth Women's Leadership Trust depended on all of them. Its major events required palace planning, invitations to diplomats, use of royal branding, and appearances beside senior members of the family. William controlled the offices that made those things possible. That meant Harry could persuade Charles to approve Meghan in principle, but the prince could still block the resources needed to make the role real. Charles read the duplicate proposal in his private sitting room after Harry sent it directly to him. The king reached the page bearing Meghan's name, removed his glasses, and placed the file down without speaking. He felt the pressure immediately. Rejecting the request would wound his younger son again. Approving it could weaken William, revive old conflict, and force the monarchy to defend a plan it had never designed. The danger deepened when Charles learned what had already happened. Harry's external advisors had contacted charity trustees before receiving palace consent. Trustees are the people legally responsible for protecting and managing a charity, and several now believed royal approval was close. The monarch realized he was being pushed toward confirming expectations he had never authorized. William had already moved. He instructed palace staff that no royal seals, official stationery, schedules, security arrangements, or announcements could be prepared for Meghan. A royal seal is the formal mark used to show that a document carries official authority. Without it, the proposal could not be presented as an act of the crown. Charles carried the file toward the fireplace, then turned to his private secretary. "How many people already believe I have agreed to this?" The answer left him shaken. After a long silence, the king asked to see William alone. Harry treated the summons as a chance for intervention. unaware that Charles was preparing to make him face the consequences of bypassing his brother. The king's hesitation gave Harry a final thread of hope, but outside the palace, the proposal was already beginning to unravel, and Meghan would be the first to feel the force of William's decision. The rejection did not arrive through a public statement. It came through a private call, delivered in language so formal that its coldness became unmistakable. Meghan listened as Harry explained that William had blocked the patronage, frozen all palace cooperation, and challenged every conversation held in anticipation of approval. She had imagined the role as a return to meaningful service. Now, before the announcement could even exist, the future king had erased it and exposed how little influence remained. Palace officials moved quickly after the decision. They notified the charity trustees that no appointment involving Meghan had been approved and ordered every draft connected to her name withdrawn. Trustees are the people legally responsible for managing and protecting a charity, so the message carried immediate force. Planned meetings, summit appearances, and fundraising discussions with international supporters were also cancelled because none could continue under royal sponsorship. Harry called from a private room after leaving Windsor. Meghan first believed he was about to confirm a meeting with Charles, but his silence told her otherwise. The Duke struggled to begin. When he finally said William had blocked every route forward, she remained calm and asked whether the king had seen the full proposal. The answer was no. Meghan's control began to crack when Harry explained that palace staff had contacted the trustees directly. She understood at once that this was not a delay, a negotiation, or an invitation to revise the request. The prince had dismantled the plan before Charles could be placed under further pressure. Every contact, every promise, and every expectation was now being pulled apart in public-facing silence. The humiliation deepened when one trustee returned a prepared speech intended for Meghan's first appearance. The document thanked the king for restoring a shared mission, even though Charles had never approved or seen that wording. A draft speech is a prepared text written before an event, and this one made the appointment sound settled long before the palace had agreed to anything. Harry then discovered that William possessed copies of emails exchanged between outside advisors and charity representatives. Those messages proved how far the campaign had advanced without formal consent. The Duke realized his brother was not acting from suspicion alone. He had evidence. Meghan opened the folder containing the speech. She read the first sentence once, then placed the page face down. Harry told her he would confront Charles and demand that the monarch overrule his heir. She looked at him and answered, "Do not ask your father to give me something your brother can take away tomorrow." Her refusal changed the direction of the conflict, because for the first time, Harry was forced to consider that winning the patronage might cost more than losing it, and only one private conversation could make him face that truth. There were no lawyers, secretaries, or charity advisors in the room when Charles finally met Harry. There was only a father, a son, and the damage created by a plan that had become larger than the woman it was meant to honor. Harry entered expecting the king to challenge William. Instead, Charles closed the door, placed the proposal between them, and asked why reconciliation had once again been pursued through pressure rather than trust. The question struck harder than any refusal. Charles had chosen a private family meeting instead of a formal palace review. A palace review is an official process in which advisors examine a royal decision, its risks, and its public consequences. By removing that machinery, the king made one thing clear. This was no longer only about a patronage. It had become a test of confidence between father and son, and that trust had already been badly damaged. Harry arrived prepared. He spoke about Meghan's charitable history, her international reach, and the chance to show unity after years of division. The Duke argued that the Commonwealth needed voices who could connect with younger audiences and communities beyond Britain. He believed the role could prove that service had not ended, simply because the couple had left royal duties. Charles listened without interruption. When Harry finished, the monarch admitted he understood why his son wanted the appointment. He understood the pain behind it too. But the king said compassion could not force him to ignore how the plan had been advanced through private pressure, outside advisors, and expectations created before approval existed. Harry's restraint broke. He accused his father of allowing William to decide who remained connected to the monarchy and who was pushed outside it. Charles answered quietly that the prince had not created the mistrust. He had acted because the mistrust was already there. The truth became harder to escape when the king produced the draft announcement. It described the appointment in language suggesting his personal endorsement, even though he had never approved it. Harry read the page twice and realized his advisors had taken the plan further than he authorized. Charles then revealed one final detail. William had privately offered to support Meghan's independent charity work, as long as it carried no royal title, palace access, or suggestion that she spoke for the crown. The offer did not restore status, but it proved the rejection was not a demand for silence. Charles turned the withdrawal letter toward Harry and placed a pen beside it. A withdrawal letter is a formal document ending a request before approval is granted. After a long pause, the Duke signed his name and left the pen resting on the final word. Before leaving, Harry asked whether William had protected the monarchy or punished his brother. Charles did not answer. The private battle was over, but the outside world was about to discover fragments of what had happened, and one image at the palace gates would define the story more powerfully than any official statement. By morning, secrecy had collapsed. A single front page transformed the rejected proposal into an international confrontation between the brothers. Broadcasters debated whether William had protected the crown or used its power to close the door on Meghan permanently. Crowds gathered outside Buckingham Palace, phones raised toward silent gates that offered no explanation. Yet the image that captured public feeling was not of anger or celebration. It was Harry leaving Windsor alone, holding an empty document case beneath his arm. News spread after charity trustees received the palace withdrawal notice, and several planned meetings disappeared from calendars within hours. A withdrawal notice is an official message confirming that a proposal is no longer moving forward. Palace Communications then issued a restrained statement, saying no new appointment had been authorized, and all existing royal patronages remained unchanged. The wording was calm, but its purpose was sharp. The monarchy wanted the public to know that Meghan had never been approved. William watched the first television bulletin with Catherine beside him. The prince remained still, as commentators discussed royal authority, family division, and the future of the monarchy. When one presenter called the decision a final rupture between the brothers, he reached for the remote and lowered the volume. Catherine looked toward him, but the future king said nothing. His silence showed that even victory had carried a personal cost. Harry watched the same coverage from his hotel room. The Duke grew furious, as Meghan was described as chasing status and attempting to force her way back into royal life. He remembered her warning that the plan should be abandoned, yet every headline placed her at the center of the conflict. Harry had tried to restore her dignity. Instead, he had exposed her to another wave of judgment. The London Chronicle captured the crisis with a fictional front page carrying the banner headline, "William's Final No." Beneath it appeared the photograph of Harry leaving Windsor with the empty case. The image became a symbol of defeat before the palace had explained what the proposal actually contained. Outside Buckingham Palace, the crowd divided behind the barriers. Some called for William to defend royal boundaries. Others held signs demanding reconciliation between Charles's sons. A royal boundary is the line separating private family relationships from official crown authority, and the argument now centered on whether the prince had protected that line or used it too harshly. William finally authorized the release of one crucial fact. The proposal included palace resources and language implying royal representation. During an evening broadcast, the presenter placed those terms beside the palace statement and declared, "This was not simply a request to support a charity. It was a request to speak again with the authority of the crown." Once the true scale of the proposal became public, the argument shifted from whether William had been cruel to whether he had drawn a boundary the monarchy could no longer avoid, and the final verdict would leave no one untouched. In the end, Meghan did not receive the patronage. Harry withdrew the request, Charles refused to overturn William's decision, and the charity continued under its existing royal leadership. The documents were closed, the announcement was abandoned, and every private promise behind the plan collapsed. Yet the true consequence was not administrative. William had proven that access to the crown could no longer be recovered through pressure, family sentiment, or carefully worded proposals, and Harry understood that the old door had finally shut. Harry's withdrawal was formally accepted, and the trustees received confirmation that no co-patronage would be created. A co-patronage is an arrangement in which two public figures share official responsibility for supporting the same organization. Every draft naming Meghan was removed, every planned appearance was cancelled, and every suggestion of royal approval was erased. The decision mattered because it ended not only one request, but the entire strategy behind it. Charles supported William's authority, even as the emotional cost weighed heavily on him. The king understood that reversing the decision would weaken the future monarch and reward an attempt to bypass trust. He also knew that refusing his younger son would deepen a wound he could not easily repair. Yet the monarch finally accepted that family compassion could not become a substitute for responsibility. Harry returned to Meghan, carrying the unsigned speech and the approved withdrawal letter. The Duke admitted that his attempt to restore her standing had placed her at the center of another damaging royal conflict. She listened without anger. Meghan told him she had never needed a patronage badly enough to depend on the approval of people who no longer trusted them. Her sadness remained, but it had changed into quiet finality. William did not celebrate. The prince kept Meghan's handwritten note instead of returning it, a choice that revealed he understood the pain behind the request. Yet he also believed royal association demanded discipline, accountability, and loyalty. Those obligations could not appear only when influence was desired. Days later, William closed the patronage file and locked it inside a cabinet reserved for rejected proposals. Across the Atlantic, Harry watched Meghan begin an independent charity meeting without palace titles, royal seals, or official recognition. Neither brother felt victorious. Harry accepted that Meghan would continue her work outside royal patronage. William accepted that protecting the crown might permanently distance him from his brother. Charles accepted that he could not heal his sons by pretending trust still existed. The monarchy had chosen boundaries over reconciliation and continuity over emotional compromise. William protected the institution he was destined to inherit, but the price was unmistakable. He did not merely shut down Harry's secret plan. He ended the belief that Meghan could return to royal influence without rebuilding the trust that had been lost. The patronage was denied. The crown remained protected. And the brothers walked away understanding that some decisions preserve an institution, precisely because they refuse to preserve an illusion. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in next one.